Bill Gibson preparing to spike the opening prime rush. Ball is down. Kevin Clark goes up, hits the Marin twins. Shout out to Scott Anderson. Mike Reagan comes away with it. Urban Legends will take the first possession of this game. Brian Sperling gets an opening as Kirby hits the turf. He swings it over between quads 2 and 4. Vignola pushed by Brian Marin. That'll be a foul. Urban Legends ball in the middle.
If you hear us talking about the quads, the far left quad is quad 1, far right quad is quad 2. Our near left, where Jim Bradley's standing right now, where the ball is quad 3, and the one right in front of us on the right is quad 4. So we'll be deferring to that throughout the game.
Kevin Clark driving, finding Dan Vignola, who was deadly from the wedge last week. He puts it home for 2.
Vignola had six shots from the wedge that went in, 12 points for him. He's also going to step up offensively.
Farrer swings it back to middle to John Graham. Jim Bradley driving, kicks it back to Brian Marin. Marin kicking it to the middle, goes out to James Thomas between quads 1 and 3. They'll reset in the middle right to Mike Reagan, who's wide open and shoots a wide open 4-point shot off goal.
He's too open, Kyle.
An unfortunate error by Mike Reagan.
Following another unfortunate error by James Thomas.
Yeah, that was the story to Throwbacks last week, was the turnovers.
And missing the goal was their thing as well. But Urban Legends missed the goal first here.
Backdoor to James Thomas. He puts it down for 2. 3 Urban Legends guarding him in the goal zone in the back left quadrant, quad 1. We're knotted at 2 with 18:30 remaining in the first period. Frank Buffer resets in the middle. Loses the handle. May have traveled. Got away with one there. Kyle Miller, pump fakes, goes to his feet. He's ripping. That'll be off goal.
Good to see Miller get involved in the offense early, even though it's off goal. They're going to need his offense. He wasn't here week 1, but a potent offensive player with his feet.
Ryan Kirby will inbound the ball. Finds Steve Botter, resets in the middle of Joe Farino. Farino driving at quad 3, kicks it out to James Thomas. Thomas driving, looking for Farino in the wedge. Nothing there. Nick Ferrero driving now, finds a wide open Steve Farris. He'll go near post, and that's good for 2.
Interesting to see Joe Farino getting the start today. Kept himself on the bench for the first game at the beginning, but starting to run the middle here for the Throwbacks.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looks like he's back in the middle. Ball's loose. Middle, yeah. Ferrero fighting for it with Brian Friedrich. Urban Legends will come away with the ball. We'll inbound between quads 1 and 3. Mike Reagan driving middle. Sees Sperling on the perimeter. Graham closely guarding him. Kicks it out to Sperling. Sperling wide open from the side. He'll put it home far post.
And Sperling had a quiet day last week, but they're going to look to get him the ball more, I think, this week.
Farino driving in quad 3. Looks like that's going to be their area of attack. Graham finding some space. Deeks at the point in quad 1. Finds Ferrero. He's got an open look. Backdoor to Jim Bradley, who rolls it back to Joe Farino's off the crown from point blank, but the Throwbacks recover. Brian Marin drives for 4. That goes high. Clark in net for the Urban Legends. He makes another save. Bada going near or far post. That's off the mark.
Clark in the net for the Urban Legends. An interesting choice.
I was wrong with my call. It's going to be Frank Buffa and Mike Reagan at the crosser position. Kevin Clark's going to be over here in wedge back. He was a former wedge back for the Limelights in season 2 and 1 and 2 actually.
But he's such a potent force in the middle. It's interesting seeing him taken out of the middle and put in the wedge. But really, the Legends don't have a lot of options right now.
There's a club name for you right there, the Limelights.
Yeah. A startling amount of them still in the league.
Scott Anderson, 2 steps, blocked by Farino. That might have been tipped off Scott Anderson.
And there's another big play.
Tip.
There's another big play for the Throwbacks. He only had 2 blocks in round 1. He got an early one here.
Yeah, it's something we talked about on the podcast, that the Throwbacks got to get in front of the ball and help out their wedge backs. Reagan driving for 4. Nice placement top right, but it hits the post. Friedrich's good foot skills. John Graham will knock it out of bounds. It'll be Urban Legends ball between quads 1 and 3. Some physical play here early on from the Throwbacks.
And another good thing, because they were not very physical against Night Owls in week 1.
Clark with the ball in the middle. Should be interesting with him playing wedge back and taking the ball from the middle. You're going to have an open goal, and Clark's going to be running back and retreating to goal all game.
Yeah, but he's a guy who's athletic enough to pull that off. Probably one of the only guys in the league who's that athletic.
Farino with a long pass to Jim Bradley, who kicks it back up to the middle of Brian Marin. He's got room, sails it over the crown.
Looks like he lost the handle on that one. Otherwise, it was a good shot attempt. Had the point open. Throwbacks look a lot more in sync offensively. They're moving the ball really well. Long passes. The passes are hitting the hands. It's all good right now for them.
15 minutes remaining in the first period. 4-4 tie as Brian Sperling unknots the tie and makes it a 6-4 lead for the Urban Legends. Farino with a no-look pass to Bada. Bada rolling to Kevin Marin. He chips it. Vignola with the kick save. Ball still loose. Still Throwbacks ball. Amendola plays in the middle to Reagan. Reagan with a shot that'll be blocked by Brian Marin. It'll be Urban Legends ball between quads 1 and 3. As we said again, more blocks from the Throwbacks. They're getting in front of the ball.
And a good desperation block there from Marin.
Tough call here. It's going to be Throwbacks ball.
Interesting to see how that one got off an Urban Legend.
We're up here, though. I mean, his back was turned to us, so. In the meantime, Bada ties the game back up at 6 for the Throwbacks. Reagan passes to the perimeter to Miller. Back to Reagan at the point. Reagan slowing the pace down. Finds Anderson a little too far. He's on the line.
And a tough pass there for Anderson to handle without stepping on the line. He was just over.
Yeah, he led him right to the blue of the flex line. Well, that's actually the wedge line. It's since we moved from the 70 to the 50, the names of the lines have become. It still confuses me about what encompasses what, but that is the wedge line.
Wedge line.
Blue border with a white line. Steve Farris finds the ring for 4, and the Throwbacks extend their lead to 10-6. 13:40 remaining in the first. Clark charging the ball, looking to respond, nothing doing, as the Throwbacks are right on the points.
Yeah, they're not going to fall into the same trap the Jet Sets did last week.
Clark dishes it to Reagan, and he puts a shot on goal that's caught by Steve Bada. Bada looking to clear, finds Kirby. Kirby, quick pass to Graham, who's open for 4. He goes high, and that'll be knocked off goal by Scott Anderson.
And interesting, too, with the shuffle in the Urban Legends wedge back position, Scott Anderson on the near side here in quad 3, spent most of the day last time in quad 1.
Nick Ferrero, the sniper, takes him out in the middle of the field. John Graham recovering, though. He'll be driving, a lot of room. He'll just slow pace it. It doesn't seem like Graham's looking to force this week like he did last week.
Yeah, he took a lot of shots last week.
A little bit of an errant pass by Farino, collected by Kevin Marin. They'll reset now. Bada's got it between 2 and 4. Off the crown with the hook throw. Miller plays it back to Clark. Clark looking to clear, throws it between 2 guys. Amendola touches it. That'll be Urban Legends ball. He'll drive it quad 3, rolls it to Scott Anderson. Bradley coming out, clearing that one out of bounds.
And Anderson, probably the only guy in the Urban Legends you don't like to see the roll going into. Not a lot of foot skills from him.
Co-captain Kevin Glover is right next to us here. He was yelling not to force the roll passes. Make sure you have it and find the right guys. Reagan driving at the point in quad 2. He'll kick it out to Sperling on the perimeter. There's your roll pass to Amendola, who chips it in for 2. 10-8, 12-10 remaining here in the first. Throwbacks about to sub. Kevin Chevarria subs in for Nick Ferrero. John Graham subbing out for George Price. Kevin Casero subbing in for Steve Farris.
Farris had a good first couple minutes, has 6 points already in this one.
Steve Bada shoots off goal on quad 1. That'll be Urban Legends ball between quads 1 and 3. Like we said in the podcast as well, Steve Bada got to be a little more active on offense. He's taking more shots.
Yeah, absolutely. He's taken a couple shots already. Had that one off the crown here that almost went in. He's
just
getting much more active.
4 there. Amendola with some space. He'll drive, dekes it, goes to his feet, drops it back to Friedrich. Friedrich just plays in the middle of Reagan. Farino right on Reagan, pressure defense, and they're going to call a travel on Mike Reagan. Great defense by the Throwbacks. They are swarming the ball right now. Violations are taken from the perimeter.
And that's the one thing that Farino brings you. He doesn't bring a lot offensively in the middle, but he can definitely pressure the ball throughout the prime ring.
Quick feet, Chris. Farino resetting, finds Jim Bradley on the perimeter, who's open. He's going backdoor. Bada not in the goal zone yet. That ball will stay out of the goal zone and go for 2 as Ryan Scafidi cleans up the garbage. 12-8. Throwbacks lead. Another turnover by the Urban Legends. Farino looking to clear. Scafidi with a clear path. 2 wedgebacks, though, wisely plays it out. And they'll reset in the middle to George Price. George Price driving at the point, kicks it out to Kevin Marin. Marin driving on quad 2. He'll shoot off goal, but was first called for a traveling violation.
And Kevin Marin, not a lot of games logged so far for the Throwbacks. A little bit of experience on that jump throw and got called for the travel. Got
to put a dribble down first, Chris.
Yep.
Sperling inbounds to Reagan, who's going to shoot. Nope. Going backdoor to Friedrich, who misses his first attempt, rebounds the miss and puts it home for 2. He's got a huge height advantage over James Thomas in quad 1. George Price driving in quad 4. He's got a good look. He's going for the crown. That'll be over the crown and out of bounds.
Yeah, when Price attacks the middle there, he's going for the crown. He's not going to be a guy who shoots for the chamber very often. Just a little bit high on that first attempt.
Price is a go big or go home type of guy from the point. Oh, Clark has a wide open look for 4. He shoots off goal. Do you think this might have something to do with him in wedge back and not really in the flow of the middle of the field?
I don't know. He was. You rarely see Kevin Clark that open from the point, and I think maybe that's the farthest position from his wedge. Maybe it's a little bit in his head.
And he gets called for the line violation. That's a great call by Mike Snell. He dropped it. Left foot was on the line. Scott Anderson inbounds to Todd Wampler. Wampler kicks to Reagan. Reagan's going to slow play it into the middle. Chevariah all over him. He's a pressure defense kind of guy, too. Reagan takes a 4. That's off the crown and out of bounds. Throwbacks ball.
And I think Mike Reagan forced it on a little bit right there. Didn't really have it from the point, but went for the shot anyway, and really not a great attempt.
A lot of off-goal shots here early for the Urban Legends. Bradley, speaking of off-goal shots, Bradley off the crown out of bounds. It'll be Urban Legends ball.
And Throwbacks going for the crown a lot early. We saw Farris hit one early. Bada clanked one off the crown, and now Bradley as well.
Tons of crown shots. Clark with another clear path. Price will get called for the hack on the arm on Kevin Clark. It's a good foul by George Price, as Clark had a full head of steam heading into quad 2. Clark rolling it to Kyle Miller. Miller, Division I soccer prospect.
With a great chip pass.
Chip pass it right into the gut of Anderson.
You don't see many guys who can throw it that way.
Another high shot for the Urban Legends and another save by the Throwbacks. Blocked by Todd Wampler on that shot attempt. James Thomas is being pressured by Amendola. He'll scurry away and kick it over to Bada, who's wide open in quad 2. Great save by Dan Vignola. Awesome reaction time there. No trip call from behind. Miller now. Ball still loose in the wedge. It's being hit every which way. Marin comes away with it. Deke steps it. Now he's at his feet. Anderson slides out, makes a save. Chevariah follows it up with a boot. Ball's loose between quads 3 and 4 now. Miller comes away with it. He'll look to clear. Reagan's got it. He's swarmed by 2 Throwbacks. Scafidi with great defense on here. Pressure defense, and Chevariah will come from behind and hack him for the foul.
A lot of action on that sequence.
Tons of physicality, feet to hands, all kinds of Kronum play right there. Friedrich Deeks at quad 1. He'll just come back to quad 3. Reset in the middle of Reagan. Reagan with a lead pass to Anderson. Anderson with an open look, going for the ring, just off the red. Rebounded by Clark, who mishandles it with his feet. Price kicks it. So right now we're looking at Throwbacks ball, I believe. I believe we're looking at Throwbacks ball. Sperling takes a shot, and James Thomas just spoils it off goal, but I believe if he just let it go in, it would have been Throwbacks ball.
That was Throwbacks ball, so James Thomas actually helping the Urban Legends out by making that save.
Yeah, the touch by Price in the middle established possession for the Throwbacks. Clark with the ball in the middle. He's looking for a point. He's got a little room there. He's going to take it. Bradley spoils that one away, comes out, boots it into the middle. Reagan's right there. Ball's loose. Price on it. Reagan comes away with it, though. Shovel pass to Amendola, who goes to his feet, drops it back to Friedrich. Nice play out, as there's plenty of Throwbacks defenders there to guard that. Vignola to his feet. Tries to drill low. Marin turns that one away. Former Westchester University keeper. Vignola resets to Buffa. Buffa just kicks it to Reagan in the middle. Reagan out to the perimeter. Friedrich slow playing it again. He's been real controlled out there with the ball. Friedrich getting some of his first time this year. He's got a little bit of time last year. Mike Snell saying that Scott Anderson touched the ball before he established both feet back in bounds.
You can't be the first person to touch it after going out of bounds. Is what
that's the call. First person to touch it after you're out of bounds. It's a good call by Mike Snell. And that'll be a line violation. Sperling inbounds to Reagan. Reagan fakes the shot, finds Sperling. Sperling stays set, finds Amendola, who rolls to Friedrich, who's wide open, and he'll kick it far post for 2. Urban Legends really trying to force it into the wedge and play with their feet. This is going to be you're going to see a lot of foot skills this game. A lot of soccer experience on the field today.
Yeah, and not just from the Urban Legends, the Throwbacks too. I have a lot of guys who played soccer in college. We mentioned already Kevin Marin, also Jim Bradley.
More feet play there, and that ball will just go out of bounds as Nick Ferrero checks back in for the Throwbacks, as well as Ryan Kirby and Steve Farris. Scott Anderson inbounding for the Urban Legends. He finds Kevin Clark between quads 3 and 4 over here. Long pass, Price trying to read it. All over Sperling. Sperling goes to his feet, and the hands guy throws his hands up like, hey, man, I can do the feet too.
You don't see that very often from Brian Sperling, but Hey, if you're an Urban Legend, you got to be prepared to play with your feet every
Got
once
to
in a
have
while.
some kind of feet skills to be an Urban Legend. Graham kicks it out to Bradley, goes back to the middle to Farris. Farris, shovel pass. He's got a wide open look in quad one if he takes it. Ferrero driving in and a great block by Frank Buffa.
Great hustle from Buffa, who we haven't really said his name very often so far, Frank Buffa.
I think you're going to see a couple rips in the middle, Chris.
Yeah, had a really good start to the game last week.
Perfect placement by Steve Farris on that 2-point shot from the flex. With 4:36 remaining in the first period, it's all knotted at 14-14. A lot of defense and a lot of feet play from both teams to start this game.
A little bit
Casero tips
sloppy
it.
early too, I think. There's been turnovers, shots off goal, off the crown, a lot of messy play in the middle.
I think a lot of it has to do with the defense, though, Chris. I think the defense is pretty stout right now for both teams.
Yeah, both teams are locked in defensively, and both have very good defenses.
Very fast defenses as well. Vignola takes a shot and redirects it off Bada. Now Clark driving across the field after the inbound. Friedrich's going to his feet. Thomas comes away with it. He'll play it out to Ferrero. Throwbacks looking to clear. Graham will get it in there, into the prime ring. Throwbacks ball. Ball's loose now on the wedge. Sperling going after it. Kevin Marin tries to volley it. That's no go off the mark. Kyle Miller inbound from the Urban Legends in between quads 2 and 4. Reagan looking for Wampler. Wampler to his feet in the middle of the field. Chips it out to Friedrich, who will stay with the feet. Now we'll pick it up. Drive toward quad 1. And just reset in the middle of Reagan. Reagan slow playing, looking for a good shot. 3:30 remaining here in the first period. As they pressure Reagan, he forces one. That'll go off the crown. Ball's loose. Nobody wanted to get it, it appears, and Ferrero just scoops it up, and then he'll be fouled by Todd Wampler.
It's another forced shot from Mike Reagan. He's got to look for the openings. The throwbacks are really pressuring on the points right now, and if it's not there, you got to dish it out to the wings because someone's going to be open.
I'll tell you what Reagan was looking for, though. He thought he was fouled before he landed, after the shot released his hands. Bradley's passed the Bada off the mark. Another turnover.
It just
for
looked like
Throwbacks.
good defense on Reagan, though.
I thought so, too. It's a contact game, and there's a neutral vertical plane rule in Kronum. If you go up, you keep your arms up, and you create a little contact, it's perfectly legal.
Yep.
Sperling looking for the set shot. No go. 2:45 remaining in the first period. It's 14-14. Long roll pass. The chip goes off the crown. Ball still in bounds. Rebounded by Friedrich, who plays it to the center to Amendola, who misses from point-blank range. Man, maybe it is getting a little sloppy, Chris.
Hey, I mean, I called it, I thought.
2:30 remaining in the first period. Bradley will take it in quad 4. Back to Farris. Farris driving. Had a little room there, not deciding to take that one. Ferrero with the roll, a little too far, so Thomas plays it back to the middle. Thomas is down on the far side of the field. He's limping. Meanwhile, Marin goes backdoor to Bada, and Bada puts it away for 2.
And the foul, it looks like.
It looks like we're going to need to get a timeout here for the throwbacks. We might need an injury timeout. Wow,
Jim-
and the foul.
And the foul on the dunk attempt from Steve Bada. It's a good strategy to foul a guy going up for the rings in the goal zone.
Got to make sure you take him down,
Yeah,
though.
got to make sure he doesn't make the hoop as well.
James Thomas is going to be subbing out here. We'll see. He might have caught a boot to the knee. Steve Bada approaches the penalty shot. Vignola makes a save. Kirby following it up. Ball still loose in the wedge. Miller plays it out. Vignola going hard. 2 great soccer players over there in Miller and Vignola. To another All-American in Todd Wampler. Just riddled with amazing soccer skills on this field today. You're going to see, like we said, a ton of foot skills. Anderson goes set shot. Instead, he goes backdoor, but Friedrich's foot was out of the wedge first. That'll be hands in the wedge on the Urban Legends.
Tough call right there. I thought Friedrich might have gotten in, but Mike Snell right on top of it on the near side here.
Yeah, it was a great call. Before the foul, Friedrich's foot was easily in the wedge. Throwbacks ball in quad 1. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining in the first period. Throwbacks with a 16-14 lead. Clark punches it out and then sends Kirby to the turf. He's going to let him know it ain't going to be easy getting into my goal zone today. Kirby goes backdoor to Kevin Marin, who puts it down. The big man, center ring for 2 on the dunk.
You see, they're forcing the throwbacks trying to force the back door here near side in quad 4 on Kevin Clark. Got a much better advantage up top with Kevin Marin in quad 2 on Vignola.
Vignola tucks it in near post for 2. We're under a minute to play here in the first period. 18-16 Throwbacks lead. Bada with an open look. He'll roll to his feet. They play back to Kirby. Kirby stoned by Vignola. Ball's played back to the middle. Graham had a good look for 4. Passes it up. Swings it out. Bradley just getting a fingertip. Farris 2 steps low on Clark. He plays it. Another save by Clark. Looking to clear. Throws it out. Only he would be fast enough to throw it on one thing and make it in 2 steps out to the flex.
Clark might be faster than the ball. You say
He literally might be.
Passing is always faster. than running, not when Kevin Clark is the one running.
Wampler kicking for 4. They're going to say the ball just got over the line. Bill Gibson agrees. That's 2. Very close there. Toddy Wampler almost drills a 4.
Scott Anderson referring to it as a silly call, calling it a 2, not a 4.
10 seconds remaining in the first period. 18-18 tie. Graham driving for 4. Kicks it out to Kevin Marin. Marin with 5 seconds to shoot. Back to Price. Price, ball fakes. He's going to be looking for the crown here to end the period. And Vignola will turn it away as we're all knotted at 18-18 at the end of the first.
And a good first period. I thought, like I said, a little bit sloppy on both sides, but both teams sort of settling into a rhythm. And it's sort of the same game we thought it was going to be. A lot of balls on the ground, a lot of plays at the feet, and a lot of good defense early on.
There's a ton of diversity on the field right now. You're seeing that mix from Sperling with the hands, Farris with the hands, to guys
Sperling
like
with the feet as well.
Even Bada's going down to his feet a lot today. It's just it looks like the Throwbacks evaluated what they did last week. They played right into the Night Owls' hand by playing with their hands, and now they're switching up the game. But it's interesting because the Legends are such a feet-oriented team. I kind of want to see a little more balance going forward in the rest of the game with the hands.
Well, yeah, what I see from the Throwbacks right now is they're sort of just playing how the opponents want them to play. Last week they played against Night Owls, a very hand-based team, and they played exclusively almost with the hands. Now they play the Legends, and I think they're playing right into their hands by rolling in as much as they're rolling into, because that's where the Legends are comfortable in terms of defense and offense.
I see what you did there. They played into their hands with their feet.
You see that? That was completely intentional.
Hashtag I see what you did there.
It just flows. It just flows.
It's natural, dude. I mean, you can't help it. It's like a gift. It's like you can't control it.
I know.
Little less fiery huddle from the Throwbacks after the first period today. I mean, they were all knotted with the Night Owls last week. This is where the Throwbacks had their meltdown last weekend in the second period. So we're going to be looking for the Throwbacks to continue to play this balanced game and great defensive play. They're really shutting down the points and contesting shots from Reagan and Clark.
The points are pretty open last week when you guys played them, the Night Owls. And this week they're doing a much more concerted effort of blocking the point shots. Clark has gotten the one open look where he went wide. Reagan hasn't gotten an open look yet. We haven't seen anything from Frank Buffa, who hit 2 4s in the first period last week. And really good defensive effort, I think, from the Throwbacks.
If you guys are wondering who the gentleman in the black shirt is on the field, that is Andres Torres, head of production. He makes the amazing videos. Guys like that are sitting to my left, like Chris Braze, edit them. Another guy up on camera 1 is Eric Stanchek.
Looking at his view
editing
right now, all the way
amazing
at the roof.
videos all week. Make sure you check them out on Kronum.com. All week we're uploading tons of content. Full games will go right up to YouTube.com and then be pushed to our website on Monday. We'll have highlights and stats as well. Plenty of content coming out throughout the week to follow up these great Sunday rounds of Kronum. Gotta love it.
Yep, and 2 more games coming up today also after this one.
Ooh, Workhorse's Night Owls. That's going to be a battle of old teammates coming up next.
Yep.
Bill Gibson getting ready to spike this prime rush to start the second period. Ball's down, and Clark wins it, tips it directly to Reagan. A perfect touch to Reagan. Urban Legends start off on offense. Sperling whips low off the post. That'll go out of bounds. Story of the Legends right now is shots off goal. That's what I'm saying. Farris with a shot low on Friedrich. He stops it, catches it, and collects it, actually. Urban Legends retaining possession, looking to clear.
Friedrich's playing a really good game right now. Sort of another one of those guys we talked about last week, sort of thrown into wedge back. And he's doing really well, I think, early on.
Reagan comes away with it, finds Anderson, who just resets, and we have a throwback down on the field. It looks like Brian Marin.
Didn't see what happened.
He might have called it elbow or something to the face. That's actually Ryan Scafidi is down. Ryan Scafidi down. It looks like he took a shot to the upper side of his body, maybe the head.
Yeah, maybe you should at that point.
We're only 33 seconds into the second period here, ladies and gentlemen. We have an 18-18 game. A lot of foot skills played.
Really low scoring game early on.
Very low scoring. And you know, I think if the game continues to be a game played in the wedge, I think you're going to see a low score.
Yeah, and like I said, these are two teams that when they say what they're about, it's defense. And they've shown it so far. I think it's interesting too. We mentioned that in the outset. Kevin Glover dressed to play. Still hasn't seen any action on the Urban Legends side. He's still standing here next to Jordan Wells, who's out today.
Scafidi looks like he caught something from Joe Amendola. Amendola showing great sportsmanship. He might have caught that in the no-no spot. That's what it appears. Joe Amendola.
No color needed there.
No color. That was all the color that was needed right there. I painted the picture. 19:25 remaining in the first. Wampler boots it. That'll go offside netting. It was tipped.
Tipped by Ferrero.
Remain Urban Legends ball. As we said, Urban Legends getting in front of the shots today. Or I think that Throwbacks getting in front of the shots today.
I think they already have more blocks than they did all of last
Absolutely.
game.
Friedrichs very composed with the ball today on offense and playing his role on defense. Clark slow playing. He's going to rip a Kronum. Redirected up over the crown. I think with Kevin Marin's soccer experience at keeper, he's starting to hit them balls straight up. What do you think about that?
I think when they're that high like that, it's a good move. But when he starts throwing on chamber,
risky though.
We saw a couple get tipped last week for the Urban Legends that went through the rings. But if there's one guy, if I'm the Urban Legends, that I don't want to try to Kronums on, it's Kevin Marin. He stands at 6'5", and the other wedge back's considerably smaller, with the exception of Jim Bradley. Jim Bradley also over 6 foot. But James Thomas, Steve Bada.
Jim Bradley dekes the backdoor pass, goes near post. Way to look off the wedge back there.
Little Nick DeLuca flavor on that one.
Mike Reagan picks it up in the middle, swing it out to perimeter to Miller, who has a wide open look if he rolled quickly. Reagan 2 steps, puts it down. Everyone wants a walk. I don't think so. Reagan off the crown. Wampler will reset to the middle to Scott Anderson. Anderson gives it to Clark. Clark had a point, but he's slow playing. Clark did the same thing last week. He slow played and then would just take a quick run at a point. Sperling getting called for the handball there as the ball was flush with the wedge. Cannot touch the ball in the wedge when it is flush with the turf. If it's bouncing, you can catch it. If it's flush with the turf, you cannot pick it up in the wedge. That is a handball. Graham kicks it out to Bradley, goes back to Brian Marin. Marin out to Bradley again. They're going to reset to the middle of Farino.
And Marin's still really quiet. You mentioned him at the outset. Did not have a good shooting day in his debut with the Throwbacks. Also hasn't done a lot here so far.
Ferrero goes with the arm. That'll turn away by Brian Friedrich. Buffa keeps it in. It's still rolling very close to the out-of-bounds line as Ferrero finds the turf. Throwbacks ball. Wampler checks Thomas into the boards after he gets that pass away. 17-18 remaining in the first. Bada rolls in, and he'll boot it near post off Clark and a save. I don't know about that. That's a shot. That's a throw there for Bada.
Yeah, and Bada can hit that throw, but they're really having a tough time scoring on Kevin Clark here in quad 4 too. I don't remember the ball getting by him too much.
He's an incredible athlete. He was a very, very impressive wedge back for the Limelights. Thomas with an open look goes backdoor to Marin. Ball fakes, and he'll put it through the crown for 2. 22-18, the Throwbacks match their largest lead of the day at 4. 16:40 remaining in the second period as Reagan continuing to play the slow pace.
And look at the Throwbacks. All 4 wedges have a guy on the point waiting for the Urban Legends to come in.
Pass a little off the mark there. Friedrich had to play with his feet. Ferrero came away with the steal for a second, but the play back to James Thomas will go out of bounds. Legends retain possession between quads 1 and 3. Reagan takes the inbound. He'll reset to the middle. Clark looking for some kind of room somewhere. Clark ball fakes. He'll roll to the wedge, and the Throwbacks are all over that. Kirby plays to the middle. Ball still loose. Farino comes away with it. Throwbacks ball on offense, and he'll be fouled by Amendola, who brings him down to the turf.
I think a good foul from Amendola.
Yeah, Amendola, a very physical player. If you're going to try and drive to the wedge on him, you better expect contact.
And Friedrich wasn't yet set in his wedge in goal, so a good save to sort of stop that attempt from Farino.
Wow, Jim Bradley looked like he had a misstep there for a second, collected it, put it right through the 5-hole of Kevin Clark for 2 as the Throwbacks now have their largest lead of the day at 6. They lead 24-18 with 15:30 remaining. Another block for the Throwbacks by Ryan Kirby as Miller rips one for 4.
We see the difference. A lot of these blocks for the Throwbacks coming off of roll-ins and kicks. They couldn't get up to stop the Night Owls shots last week, but they're getting them on the ground now.
Reagan to the perimeter to Friedrich. Friedrich collects it. He's looking back to the point. Nobody's there. Just waits, looking for a man. Finds Vignola. Vignola right to his feet. Left foot. Chips it up off the underside of the crown for 2. 24-20. Throwbacks lead. 15 minutes remaining. Bada driving. Goes to the arm. Sperling will knock it into the goal for 2. That's 2 for Bada.
Okay, babe.
Clark will take the free clear. And he's looking for an open point and cannot find one.
There's not one.
Very slow pace for the Urban Legends today. Clark driving now, goes back. That's a great pass as he's catching the throwbacks, cheating up. But they do have those adjacent quadrants open on the big switch. Thomas comes out of goal. He meets a mammoth of a man in Amendola and finds a turf. 2 throwbacks are down in the wedge after colliding with Amendola. Amendola will take that pass and
Amendola can leave some destruction in his way.
Miller rips for 4. That's a absolute missile from 25 yards out.
And that is one thing that Kyle Miller can do and will do often.
And with all those bodies in front of goal, it's going to be tough for the wedge back to see. James Thomas subbing out again after taking a shot.
Yeah, he's getting beat up, and he's not a big guy, and he's running into some big guys right now. And
Bradley's looking backdoor there. Quick pass to Chevaraya, who dunks it home for 2. Throwbacks back up 4, 28-24 with 13:45 remaining in the second.
And that one was just too easy. Like, Bradley was looking him down the whole time.
Whole way. Reagan, quick pass to Wampler. Wampler dekes it. Farino right on him. Anderson will reset it to the middle to Reagan. Reagan to the perimeter to Friedrich. Friedrich might get his first throw of the game. No go. Back to the point to Reagan. Has a look off the underside of the ring, and that one just missed for 8.
And a great play by Friedrich. They get the ball extended out to the perimeter, getting that defensive shift to open up the point for Reagan.
Roll in by John Graham to Kirby. Kirby was backdoor. Paul was going off goal, and Marin saves it and will at least salvage 1 point there for the throwbacks. Graham suffocating Clark in the middle. They are not giving him an inch. Clark with the chest pass to Wampler. Wampler goes right to his feet. He's guarded by Chevaraya. He's got to look for 4 and airmails it over the quad 1.
Little ambitious from Todd Wampler. As we mentioned, he was a soccer All-American.
Yeah, he rocked back a little bit on that one.
Leaning back, ball's going to go high every time.
Farino driving at quad 1. He does the patented up and over, down into the wedge.
It's been a long time since we've seen that.
Finally, I was waiting for that one.
It always looks like he lands first.
He didn't land first there. I think he was good there. I think he made sure because he has 3 officials on that this year rather than 2. So Amendola responds with 2 of his own from the wedge. Urban Legends cut it back to 5. 12:20 remaining in the second. 31-26. Throwbacks lead. They'll be subbing. Graham coming off. Farris coming off. James Thomas is ready to sub back in as Casero and Price check in. 5:45 remaining in the second. Price finding Bada. Bada looking to roll. He'll find Kirby, who fans on that kick. It'll go right into the hands of Vignola. Vignola pressured by Marin. Gets it to the perimeter. Amendola now fighting, trying to clear, and he does. Wampler wide open, and he's off the mark for 2 from the wedge.
And Wampler's still a little bit ambitious. That's the 2nd or 3rd time in a row we've seen him just miss the goal.
He had plenty of room there. I mean, I know Jim Bradley's been so good up close, but I would have liked to see Wampler bring that a little bit further toward the goal zone to take that shot.
He need a little more time as well. I think he felt a little pressure coming from behind, but there really wasn't that much throwbacks defense coming at him.
George Price running through the middle and heading toward quad 4, redirects it to Bada, who heads into quad 2. Casero now driving. He has a good look for 4. Passes it away. They're content with their lead. They're just going to control the ball.
And the Urban Legends defense sitting really deep in the wedge. They're not really worried about the point at all.
Kevin Marin with a low pass to Kirby, who pulls it out of his hip pocket and puts it up through the crown for 2. Sperling calming the Legends offense down. They just need to continue getting 2s. Sorry for the technical difficulty, ladies and gentlemen. We had some computer issues, but we're back here live for round 2 of the Kronum League, Urban Legends versus Throwbacks. 4:25 is remaining in the first, 43-30. The Throwbacks have extended their lead to 13 as another off-goal kick from the Urban Legends. Casero has all day to hit that far post. I saw from our vantage point exactly where he was going before he even let go of that ball.
And another wide open shot here. We've seen a lot more of those of the last couple possessions from the Throwbacks.
Vignola cuts up Kirby and then touches it home. He is just dominating the wedge.
Feed that guy more often. He has been completely automatic inside the wedge.
Feed the hot foot.
Both of them,
Casero
left foot and right foot.
kicks it to Bradley. Bradley looking for the point to Farris. Farris, so accurate from the flex is Steve Farris.
It's a long 2-pointer. Could have taken a step over maybe and gotten that for 4.
I think he has something to do with the hair.
It's the hair?
Gotta be.
Definitely.
Reagan finding Friedrich, who drops to his feet, pick it back up and reset to the middle to Reagan. Nick Bakari's getting ready to check in for the Throwbacks, who have extended their lead to 15. Bram with a steal there. Price for a long 4. That's going to be good. And the Throwbacks have taken a significant lead on that 4-point shot in transition by George Price, 51-32. They now lead by 19 with 3:10 remaining in the second.
And the Urban Legends really got to get something going at the end of this period. They got to get it down to around 10 points, I think, to give themselves a little more of a boost.
Aaron pass by Kevin Clark to Brian Sperling, and Vignola just tried to volley it on the open net, but that goes way off goal. Throwbacks will look to extend this lead.
And getting a lot of subs in. You see Nick Bakari coming in. I think he's coming in a Ranger, is primarily a wedge back, but he's coming in to play in the field, I think.
Price rolling to Kevin Marin. That ball's stolen by Miller, but it goes right to Casero. Ball still loose in the wedge. Bakari takes contact from Miller, who's fighting for that ball. Graham comes away with it. He's going to have a shot for 4. Puts it up into the top left corner of the chamber. That's a 4-point shot for John Graham.
And everything going right for the Throwbacks.
Sperling wide open for 2. Tucks it into his favorite corner, low left.
Keep it up.
But still, 2 pointers, not going to get you back into the game necessarily, although we're still in the second.
Good save.
Clark eats up that save from Bada. Bakari will just reset it to the middle of Price. Price has a point. He's going to kick it out to James Thomas, who has the back door, but decides to go back to Ferrero in the wedge.
Ferrero having trouble with that.
Ball loose. Ferrero, great footwork. Kicks it off the side netting. 1:47 remaining in the second period. 55-34. Throwbacks dominating this second period.
And you mentioned at the outset of this period, the Throwbacks really fell apart in the second last week, and a completely different story here in round 2.
Clark looking for a quick shot in quad 4. He'll go to Vignola, who's denied by Steve Bada at point-blank range. Bada telling his defenders, no worries, I got it.
That's the first time we've seen Vignola not score when rolled in, too.
Great defense by Nick Bakari. Ball is loose. Clark coming away with it. He's fighting for the ball. He'll get it to Reagan. Wide open to Friedrich. Friedrich to Wampler on a wide open net. He just touches it in for 2.
And that's what happens when you move the ball quick through the wedge there. You get open shots. You got the goalie, or the wedge back rather, way out of net there.
We're under a minute to play here in the second period. 55-36. Throwbacks dominating the second period. They've extended their lead to 19. Graham will have an open point. He's going to roll to the wedge instead. Dekes it. Now he's got an open man in Ferrero over in quad 1. He rolls it. James Thomas a little late to act on that pass, but Ferrero comes away with it. That finds its way to Farris, who's wide open from the flex. As we said, so accurate to the low corners is Steve Farris. Farino yelling high point defense. He doesn't want any big shots here to close out this second period from the Urban Legends.
And that's because that's exactly what the Urban Legends need at this point. They need a big shot going into the third.
Amendola goes to his feet. Bradley comes out. Amendola with another look, fans on it. Graham will play it out. That'll end up in Friedrich's hands. He rolls across to Miller, whose touch is off goal. 7 seconds remaining, 5 seconds. Casero with a shot. He's going for the crown. That's off the mark. They're going to have another look at it, but Vignola will turn that one away. That will end the second period as the Throwbacks on cruise control there at the end of the period. They extend their lead to 21, 57-36.
And we always talk about the Urban Legends being sort of the Jekyll and Hyde, and that's what you're seeing right now from the Throwbacks, really. They're a completely different team than you saw last week. They're moving the ball really well. Got the back doors going with Kevin Marin, who's hit a couple, and the defense has really shown up. The Urban Legends really have to stop rolling the ball in on Jim Bradley because it's just not going to work at this point.
And we'll say it again. We are yet to see Kevin Glover. It's the game's getting a little bit out of hand. I'm wondering whether Glover's going to check in here for the third to try to bolster this team on offense because that's 2 straight periods with 18 points, Chris.
Yeah, and you really can't underestimate the loss right now of Greg Ermel not being here. They need a guy from the perimeter who can hit shots right now, and Ermel not being here takes a little bit of that away from the Urban Legends offense, and that's why the Throwbacks have been able to just stack the middle of the field and take out Clark and Reagan.
I'd say, I talked about maybe a little bit of a more balance between the feet and hands with the Throwbacks in this period, and you saw it. You saw the 4-point shots from Graham and Price and Bradley and Farris doing work from the flex.
Yeah, it's just so many open shots, too, in that last period. I think the switch that was made on the timeout where Sperling went down here into quad 4, the communication just hasn't been that good from the Urban Legends in that quad since that change happened. And a lot of open shots in this quad 4, just leaving Kevin Clark, who's not a wedge back, out to dry.
Okay, so I'm going to retract my statement earlier about Ryan Scafidi-Eady. His shoulder is hurt. He was tucking it in. It looked as if he was taking care of business down there.
Well, you were right in the initial call when you said in the upper body somewhere, and then all of a sudden you went to a different area.
It just kind of looked like he was laughing about it, so it looked like he might have taken a shot to the family jewels, but...
We're going to move on.
Moving on. Third period action getting ready to be underway here between the Urban Legends and Throwbacks. If you're just joining us, welcome to Kronum.com Season 4, Round 2. Throwbacks versus Urban Legends, and it was all throwbacks in the second period in this low-scoring defensive affair, 57-36. Bill Gibson getting ready to spike the prime rush, and it's down. Kevin Clark first, Kevin Marin, and guess who comes away with it? Marin. Don't see Clark lose many prime rushes. Bada now taking it over between quads 2 and 4. He'll drive with a throw low corner, and Anderson is switched up into quad 2 now. They're doing some personnel shifts as Vignola comes into quad 3. 59-36, Throwbacks lead.
And the Urban Legends really need a big shot somewhere early in this period.
Ryan Kirby's all over the place blocking shots. He must have been listening to the podcast this week.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It has to be. It can't be anything to do with Joe Farino's game planning. It's got to be everything to do with you and I telling them.
That's okay, yeah. The captains don't really
We're
going to
take the credit. It's
us,
okay.
Right?
Friedrichs looking for the roll. Throwbacks all over that. Much quicker on defense this week. Much more. It looks like they're rotating with a purpose this week. Mike Reagan finally finds the chamber from the point. That's good for 4, and that's the first step for the Urban Legends. Get a couple big shots.
Yeah, and he had like 3 or 4 of those in the first period of last game. That's his first of the day here.
Jim Bradley heating up from the flex on Kevin Clark here in quad 4. 61-40, Throwbacks lead. Reagan with a pass to the perimeter of Friedrich. He'll just reset to Reagan.
Yeah, no one wants to shoot.
Chavarai is going to pressure defense in the middle. He'll drop back into rotation. Reagan driving at quad 4, finds an open Sperling on the outside. 2 steps, goes high. That's good for 2.
And that's big. If guys can start hitting from the perimeter, the Urban Legends, the Throwbacks have to loosen up that defense in the middle.
Quick steal for Reagan. He's going to go for a transition 4. Kirby with another block. And we're going to get a foul on the shot there. Frank Buffa. I'm going to give him a block. He wants a block. He got a wedge back. That's going to be a shooting foul.
But as a Ranger, don't you love it when you get a save?
No way. I had one last week, and I was like, man, I wish I just punched it so I got the block. We're going to see a big foot here from Frank Buffa. He'll take the penalty shot. He's staring down Kevin Marin.
If it's on goal, it's probably going to be in.
Buffa rips it past Kevin Marin, and you're a prophet, my friend.
Even against a guy like Kevin Marin, who was a soccer goalie in college, that just is a rocket.
Penalty shots worth 3 points, 6 to the crown. That's good for 3 for Buffa. Legends cut it to 61-45 with 18:08 remaining. Clark with a great save. Ball still loose. Clark comes away with it. He's going to ball fake. He's covered closely by Bada. Throws it to himself in the wedge from the goal zone to the flex and catches it in the air.
And the Throwbacks are saying that he must have stepped on the line, but he's just that athletic. That's what it is.
Frank Buffa puts home another one. He's getting a little hot here in the third, and the Legends have quickly cut this deficit to 14.
Yeah, and Buffa, those are his first 5 points of the game. We really hadn't called his name for the first 2 periods. Now he's starting to come alive here.
Buffa doesn't fall for the patented Farino up and over. And we're going to get a walk on Brian Marin. This is the Urban Legends chance right now. A big shot from Clark or Reagan from range, and we're going to have ourselves a new game.
Yeah, well, Phil Cavalcante always talks about Kronum being a game of runs, and you can sustain runs. Well, the Urban Legends got to get this run going a little bit longer to get back into this game.
Wampler follows up the Friedrichs miss with 2 from the wedge, and Urban Legends are cooking all cylinders. A quick timeout for Joe Farino. That's going to be a full timeout. He's going to take a minute here and get his team and right the ship here and get back to what they were doing in the second period.
Yeah, a little bit more life from the Urban Legends. They're excited coming into that timeout as they're going to run 5 big points from Frank Buffa and then the follow from Wampler, and all of a sudden we got ourselves a ball game.
Legends looking much, much crisper on offense here in the third period.
And defense as well, getting stops.
Wampler yelling in the huddle here, let's get some stops. Go back to what the Legends do so well, and that's that athletic defense. And as we said, Kevin Glover has not checked in yet. If this game gets any tighter, I think you could see him in some crunch time minutes.
Yeah, it's good to have that on the bench, get that little extra bullet in the gun there. But we'll see what happens.
One in the chamber, baby. One in the chamber.
Always.
Ace in the hole. How many more? We got any more?
Keep going with puns, man.
That's what we do. That's how we do.
That's how we do it. We choose everybody's strategy and then puns on puns on puns.
All day, bro. Farino driving into quad 4. He looks for Bada on the perimeter. 17:05 remaining in the third period. Legends coming out hot here in the third period. They're going to give Graham a look for 4, and Friedrich just spoils it up over the crown.
And the throwbacks, in typical throwback fashion, are likely going to slow this game down, try to shorten the game.
Brian Marin working with Bradley here. He'll just reset to the middle of Farino. Farino heaves that ball out to Bada. Bada looking back door. They're covering it tightly. Farris going to go back door here. Ball's tipped by Buffa. Kicked by Farris from the goal zone off the post. James Thomas with some nifty footwork to Bradley, who ends up hitting it off the crown. Punched out by Vignola or Wampler. Ball still loose. Rolling around. Vignola winning it in the wedge. He plays it out to Reagan, who might have a look for 8. That ball's up and over the crown, and Reagan wondering where's the foul. Might have got a piece of the arm. I just think it was real tight defense for the throwback.
It just looks like another forced shot from Mike Reagan. He looks like he's trying to get fouls. When you're trying to get fouls, you're not going to get fouls.
Yeah, just go with your natural throwing motion, and to me, that's how you get the foul. And if you get blocked, then get the rebound. Bradley driving a quad 3, looking to the point. Wrong person there to hit the shot, as it's Joe Farino. Kick it wide to Kevin Marin. Plays it with his feet to Steve Farris. Farris driving on quad 2, goes low off the post. Kirby will play it out with his feet to Farino, back in the middle. Bada on the perimeter. He points, tried to fake him out. Anderson not tricked as Miller comes out of nowhere. That ball just goes out of bounds. Throwbacks ball.
Throwbacks holding the ball out here, getting some shots, getting the rebounds, and then just reworking it and taking a lot of time off the clock.
Chevrolet, a quick pass to Thomas, who's going back door to Bradley, dunks it over Vignola with authority, throwing that ball through the crown ring from the goal zone. 15:20 remaining in the third, 63-49. Throwbacks lead. Perfect roll pass by Brian Sperling to Kyle Miller.
And Sperling, like we said earlier,
best.
not much of a foot skills guy, but he can roll it better than
He
anybody.
sure knows how to find him, though. It's as if he just has the perfect touch.
I wonder if it was softball or something. It was a little softball motion. I don't know.
Must be a softball fast pitch pitcher.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Wouldn't be surprised. Farino driving, finds Bradley, who's going to look back door. Instead, it goes off to Mark Chevrolet. Couldn't tell whether he was shooting or passing there. Urban Legends ball with a chance to cut this lead down to 10. Toddy Wampler wide open over here between 3 and 4. He goes right to his feet. He's going to boot that left foot near post past Bada for 2. 63-53 the lead's cut to now.
And again, if Wampa's going to shoot from that far away, he might as well shoot from another 2 or 3 feet back and get the 4 points on that one.
14:22 remaining here in the third. Marin. James Thomas in the perimeter. Aaron pass. He's going to roll that in. That's going to be good for 4 for the Legends. And they have cut this deficit from 21 down to 6 here. 6 minutes, into the third period. 14 minutes remaining. 63-57. Farino driving, looking for Bradley. Back to Marin. Marin driving, kicks out to Bada over in quad 2.
And they
Bada
just
will
left
just
Marin
reset.
on that play. Did you see that?
Farris going low. Anderson reads it like a book. He'll head out right back into the prime ring to Farino. 13:40 remaining. Brian Marin with a shot off the crown. Just missing for 8. Another chance for the Urban Legends to cut this deficit.
And they're within the Kronum range right now.
Reagan back out to Wampler. Ball fakes, kicks it low, and Bradley eats it up. Bradley was charging Wampler before he even made that fake.
Because you know what Wampler's going to do when he gets the ball. He's not going to throw the ball. He's going to roll it. And
Great job by Jim Bradley of recognizing personnel.
yeah, and really, they should stop doing it on anybody named Jim Bradley because he has not missed one yet.
Ball loose. Graham coming away with a steal, and Miller will foul quickly so they don't get a quick transition. Joe Farino will take it from the pivot. Nick Ferrero checks back in for the throwbacks, who hold a slim 6-point lead as its Urban Legends are charging back. Joe Farino driving a quad 2. He's going to kick it out. Nah, he's going to lay it into the wedge. He tries to chip it over, and Ryan Kirby volleys it out of midair for 2.
Just like they drew it up.
Perfect. That's play 1. Kevin Clark in quad 2. Give him an inch. Oh, he ball fakes. He's going to go for the crown. Rises up, and Bada's right there to catch that. Clark charging him in frustration almost, but also to get back into his wedge back position. Kirby touches it home, far post, and that's throwbacks on a quick 4-0 run here to extend the lead back to 10. Kevin Casero waiting to check in on the next offensive possession for the Throwbacks as Reagan goes to Sperling, and he's switching it up this week, man. He's usually a low bounce shot shooter. He's going high corners today.
Well, he throws it where he has an opening, and that's where he has it up over Steve Bada's right shoulder over and over again today.
11:55 remaining in the third. It's a 67-59 defensive battle going on here between the Throwbacks. The offense has been picking up, though, here in the third.
Yeah, well, this is, like we said from the outset, these are two teams that pride themselves in defense. They're all about defense, so not surprising to see a low score here.
George Price driving at quad one, kicks it out to Thomas, who's going to go for the throw, tucks it to the perfect top right corner of the chamber. Great placement by James Thomas on that two-point shot from the flex. 10-point lead again for the Throwbacks. Reagan driving into quad one, 2 steps, kicks to Sperling. He goes 1-2 near post. That's turned away by Marin. Sperling will inbound between quads 2 and 4. A quick roll pass to Vignola, who just charges it. Reset, but didn't get enough of that one as Bada's there in recovery. Ferrero looking to clear as Clark lays out, takes that one. Bada denies that shot from Todd Wampler, but the Legends will retain possession over here between quads 3 and 4 on the near side.
Let's see what the Legends can do here. They really haven't been able to muster much when they have a set offense, when the defense of the Throwbacks is already set. They've gotten most of their points lately off transition plays.
Reagan driving at quad one, going for 4. Blows it by Kevin Marin. He's pumping his team up.
And that's a shot they really needed.
Cuts it back to 6, 69-63, 10:30 remaining. George Price driving at quad one. Kicks it out to James Thomas on the perimeter, who finds Ferrero. Ferrero head fakes and goes back to Brian Marin. 3 Urban Legends over here in quad 3 defending. Bada gets it on the perimeter. He's looking for Kevin Marin backdoor. Touches it back in the wedge to Kirby, though. One times it through the 5-hole of, I think, a recovering Kyle Miller there in net.
Yeah, it looks like Miller has been retreating to the net a couple times.
That's going to be a turnover on the Legends. The new rule implemented actually much more clarification to the rule this year. The defender has the right to a set position in the wedge on a free clear. And that ball goes off Kirby, and that'll be a stray clear by the Urban Legends.
Sperling with a rare miss there, too. Stuff starting to go against the Urban Legends way at this point.
Wow. Point-blank range. Kevin Marin swallows that Kyle Miller shot up from the wedge. Ferrero behind the back pass to James Thomas. James Thomas will play it back to Joe Farino. Farino out to perimeter to Bada. Bada head fakes, then goes to his feet. Top shelf, that's good for 2. All Throwbacks now here in the last 2 minutes as they extend their lead back to 12, 75-63. Sperling fakes the shot, goes to Vignola. Vignola on the wedge, charging forward. That ball is loose. Brian Marin plays it out. Clark lays out and stops that.
He was on the other side of the wedge when that ball got
George
kicked.
Price will just take a foul on Kevin Clark. Wise decision as Clark looked like he was going to make a charge at the point in quad 1. Friedrich, big switch over to Buffa. Buffa, another big switch over to Sperling. Sperling, 2 steps high near post, and that's good for 2.
Sperling looks like the only guy not named Clark or Reagan who wants to shoot right now for the Urban Legends.
George Price out to perimeter, Bada. Kyle Miller covering the back door closely. That's going to leave Bada a wide open look on Clark, 1-on-1, and he buries it low.
He just left Bada wide open. Interesting strategy as he buried it.
8:30 remaining in the third period. Throwbacks leading by 12, 77-65. They're able to hold off a surging Urban Legends team who came out gunning here in the first 6 minutes of the third. That did cross the line. If it goes under the chamber, sometimes it does not cross the goal line, but backside official Andrew Gould says it does as Sperling hits for 2 there. It's a 10-point lead for the Throwbacks, but we all know one shot from Kevin Clark, and this could be a 2-point game.
Well, that's what the Throwbacks have to do right now is they have to keep it 8 or over. You got to keep it so that one shot can't put them back in, put a tie up on the board.
Farino takes what the Legends give him, and he'll drill it from the wedge, and there goes Clark going for the 8. Sails that one over the crown in quad 1. Steve Farris checking in for Brian Marin as they're trying to keep fresh legs on the field to hold off this athletic offensive team the Urban Legends have out there today. Farris with a lead pass to Thomas. Thomas puts a dribble down. He'll reset to the middle to Casero. Casero ball fakes and just resets to Joe Farino. Farino driving a quad 3. Out to Bradley. Bradley, low post. Nice scoop save there by Dan Vignola.
That's how you gotta play that's how you gotta play the bounce. You play it low and then come up with it, and that's how Vignola got
Amendola
it.
asking the officials to take a timeout here as the ball makes its way out of the closed-in arena that we have here at Maple Zone Sports and Fitness Complex.
That's a skilled shot right there, getting it on the other side
through
of the
that
boards.
netting and on the other side of the boards takes skill. That's worth a half a point. Just kidding. Bounce shot, 8 up by Clark as he'll compose himself and look for a clear. Gets it to Wampler. 5 throwbacks defending this clear. Sperling takes his time, swings it over to Reagan. Reagan looking to clear. Legends get it in. Buffa rolls and boots it off one step, and that's denied by Kevin Marin. Buffa inbounding to Reagan. Reagan with a wide open Sperling out here on the perimeter. He was looking for the roll pass, mishandles it. Picari with the slide tackle, and he comes away with a steal. A whistle. It's going to be a timeout for the throwbacks. They're going to take a 30-second timeout and reset. They will have to clear when we come out of this timeout.
A great job by Picari there. He was hustling over already just to get Sperling. He's been burying shots the entire period and has the presence of mind to slide and get the ball and then call timeout to retain possession for the throwbacks.
6:34 remaining here in the game. It's a 79-67 lead for the throwbacks as the Urban Legends. It was all Urban Legends for the first quarter of this last period, and now the throwbacks have righted the ship and they're playing their game and hitting the twos, trying to maintain that lead, as you said, keeping it up over 8 so that Clark or Reagan can't tie this in one shot.
Yeah, that's the key for the throwbacks is you see in basketball you have to keep it over 10, keep it over 2, keep it out of a one-possession game. So right now a 12-point lead, it's at least a 2-possession game, and that's right where the throwbacks are going to want it. And you're going to see them use a lot of time in their possessions so far for the rest of the period because they're going to try to shorten this game as much as possible and keep the ball in their hands because the Legends can't score if throwbacks have it.
Throwbacks will be inbounding between quads 2 and 4. They're going to have to clear to get to offense. So right now, by Kronum rules, the throwbacks are on defense with the possession arrow. Farino clears it to Casero, and the throwbacks have transitioned to offense. 6:30 remaining in the game, 79-67. Throwbacks lead. Reagan, quick 4 on that awful pass from Casero and hits in transition, and that's a huge shot for the Legends.
Yep, and
Exactly what they needed out of a timeout.
Reagan was almost surprised.
There you go, Chris. They call Farino for the foot down the wedge before the ball leaves his hands. It's a handball on the offense. It will be Urban Legends ball here with an 8-point deficit.
Yeah, and that's the key number. Remember, in Kronum, Kronum is 8 points.
One possession. Miller sends it across to Brian Friedrich. They say he was out of the goal zone. That'll be good for 2 as the Urban Legends quickly cut this lead back to 6.
But that's really, they haven't gotten it below 6 the entire time.
Tipped by Wampler and saved by Vignola. Ball is loose in the wedge. Todd Wampler is going to be called for the push. I don't know. I'm trying to see who the foul's on here.
They're giving it to Gray, is what I heard.
As both athletes were going for the ball.
Gray.
Foul on Todd Wampler for the trip. And George Price will inbound it to Farino. Farino kicked it out to Bradley, and Bradley gave it to Farris, who couldn't connect on that shot.
Dan
Farris
Vignola
again.
really stepping up in the net so far in the third period. Like we said last week, it's sort of a makeshift wedge back, but he's doing really well.
Big switch to Bada, and I think that was heading into the chamber, but Kevin Marin snatches it before it goes in, and it ends up under the crown, and the Legends get the steal. Friedrichs now back to Anderson. Anderson finds Miller. Miller has Sperling wide open. Miller trying to get this 4, gets ahead of him too much. This will be throwbacks ball on that steal. Casero driving. He's going to have an open look in quad 4 for 4 off the post. And that's going to trickle out of bounds. Urban Legends ball here inbounding between quads 3 and 4. 4:32 remaining in the game. Reagan takes it at the point.
Casero there.
Very unlucky. You'd like to have that one back.
That was a great
Reagan
shot.
going for the crown, and Kevin Marin catches that out of midair. Tons of catch saves here today. Price tries to go behind his back. Too many Urban Legends defenders on him. He turns it over. Finds Buffa in the middle. Swarming defense of the throwbacks. Sperling finally wide open. He's looking for the roll. Nothing there, and he'll calm it down. The veteran calming it down.
I don't think Sperling was really looking for the roll there. I'm just going to throw that out.
I think he was trying to calm it down. I think he deked the roll and was like, okay, guys, enough of this chaos. Let's get a good possession. Amendola sets the pick, and Clark doesn't want the shot from the flex. Reagan finds a wide open Sperling, though. He'll take it from the flex. He goes low, up, and did it go through the crown ring? Did it go crossbar and back out of the crown ring, or did it go up through the crown ring for 4? Andrew Gould and Bill Gibson will be discussing this call. Gould had a good angle on it. He looks like he has the call. They're saying it did not go in, but they're going to go Urban Legends ball inside.
It went in. Hello.
That's an official's jump ball there, and it'll go to the Legends as Amendola rips it off goal from the point. He was looking for a big 4 there. 3:30 remaining in the third.
And that's a huge call. That could have brought it down to 2 points.
I think what happened there was a Brian Sperling shot. It was redirected up, hit the underside crossbar, went out of the crown through the other direction.
Nice, Dan.
Buffa, the steal there. Toddy Wampler comes down with it. Finds Reagan at the point. Still a 6-point game here. We're heading up to 3 minutes left in the game. Price with the steal. That's going to be Throwbacks ball. They've already transitioned as the steal occurred in the prime ring. Ball is loose. Kirby rips one off the post, and that'll go out of bounds. Urban Legends ball, trailing by 6. 2:50 remaining in the third. John Graham checking back in for Captain Joe Farino. Kevin Clark finds a wide open Brian Sperling. Sperling once again will reset. Reagan driving at the point, finds Friedrich. Friedrich rolls on Jim Bradley. Backdoor ball still loose. That'll go for 1 point from the goal zone for Dan Vignola.
They finally got one past Jim Bradley, though, so they got to feel good
They had
about
to move
that.
it into the goal zone, though, Chris.
Well, it took 3 guys to get it through on that time.
2:25 remaining in the third period. 79-74. Throwbacks holding on to this lead as Anderson recovers back and makes the save, and that's going to be a handball violation on the Throwbacks. Urban Legends. Inbound, Reagan nearly lands, but gets it out of his hand just in time. Friedrich will reset, very composed here between quads 1 and 3. He's driving, forces a pass, but they're going to call a blocking foul on Kevin Casero. 1:57, clock stops under 2 minutes in the third period in Kronum. Clark's going to have a look. He digs it as an open look for Reagan to the crowd. That goes through for 8-point Kronum for Mike Reagan. The Urban Legends have come all the way back, and they now lead 82-79 with 1:43 remaining in the third.
Unbelievable.
Took that long, Chris. Wow.
And I thought for sure, as did every throwback in the building, that Clark was going to take that shot.
Scott Anderson will take the wrap foul in the goal zone. They'll make Kevin Marin shoot the penalty shot. This will be a shot to tie for 3 or a potential go-ahead 6-point ring shot.
And we said it all along. The Urban Legends are going to keep taking those shots from the point no matter what happens. And eventually one of them's going to go in. And one finally did.
An unbelievable shot by Mike Reagan. I'm not sure he was aiming for the outer ring, but hey, man, it still counts for 8. Kevin Marin approaching for 3, guns it, kisses it off the post, and ties this game back up at 82.
And a big shot from the rookie there. Not sure if he was going to kick it or throw it. Decided to throw it.
1:30 remaining in the third period. Mike Reagan slowing the pace down, trying to have the Legends take as much time as they can here on offense. Vignola to his feet, cuts up Bada. Ball trickles through the 5-hole, the backdoor, covered backdoor by Steve Ferris, but it goes in for 2, and it's 84-82. Legends back on top.
And that one went through 3 throwbacks defenders. A great play from Vignola, who's come up big really offensively in the
Price nearly travels there, but let's go of it. Reagan comes away with the steal. Ball's loose in the wedge. Clark coming out, still loose, and Clark will take the wrap foul. It'll be Throwbacks ball from the pivot. 59 seconds remaining. Clock is stopped. 84-82. Legends leading. Bada driving at quad 2. He'll kick it back to Casero. Casero resetting in the middle. Out to Kevin Marin. Marin on the perimeter between 1 and 2. He drives, finds a wide open Bada. Sperling there, looks him off, goes near post. Clark denies him. Clock stops with 42.6 seconds remaining here. A 2-point lead for the Legends. Throwbacks ball between quads 2 and 4.
Now with the wedgeback play from Kevin Clark the last couple of plays, making some big saves in his first game of the year at wedgeback.
John Graham draws some defenders, goes back to Bradley. Bradley to Ferris. Ferris will reset to the middle to John Graham. We're at 30 seconds remaining in this game. The Legends have fought all the way back and lead by 2. John Graham in quad 2. Slow pace for the Legends. It's going to be a timeout for Joe Farino with 24.7 seconds remaining. Unbelievable performance by the Urban Legends in this third period. Never say die, never quit. 84-82, they lead.
And they just kept hanging around, got the game under 8 points, and then they hit the shot. And that's all you got to do, really, to stay in the game. Kronum's a funny game like that with the 8-point shot. And now we're going to see what Joe Farino is going to be able to draw up here. Look for them to probably take as much of this 24 seconds as they possibly can.
I'm thinking they're going to try to take the whole. I would say they're going to play for the shootout now. They got great wedge backs over here. Legends don't have Corey Robertson anymore, so their best shootout wedge back's gone.
How about this? What about Kevin Glover coming in to play in the wedge in the shootout? Huh?
Beating a dead horse there. I said poor Corey Robertson. We can't forget him. But you know what?
The only wedge back who's ever won a shootout in Kronum League history, so it's worth mentioning.
You know what I'm thinking here, Chris? I'm thinking you're going to see some throwbacks goal zone action here.
I'm thinking that they might try to work their classic play back to the middle.
I don't know, man. I just think that the Legends have been reading it very well. I think you're going to be looking backdoor here. 20 seconds remain.
Farino's going to go for
John Graham driving a quad 2. He'll be looking. He's going to take a 4 to try to win this game, and it's turned away by Clark and out of bounds. Clock stops. 11.9 seconds remaining.
Great save by Clark again.
84-82. Legends leading. We're under 10 seconds now. 7, 6, back to Ferris. He's got an open look, and he buries it for 2. 3 seconds. Timeout, Legends, quickly with 1.6 remaining. We'll see if the officials put time back on the clock.
I think they are.
But I don't know, Chris. I don't know. We'll see. It looks like we're going to put at least 2.5 seconds left on the clock. 84-82. You called it, my friend. Bradley drives, kicks it back to Ferris, and he buries it low far post. For 2.
When the throwbacks need a shot, that's the play. That's the best they got. And a great shot from Ferris. We've seen him hit that low bounce shot to the far post over and over again in his entire Kronum career and a little bit today. Now the question is, what do you do with the Urban Legends? I'm thinking Sperling.
Wow, they're going to put 4 seconds back on the clock. Now, we have access to video this year with YouTube playing the stream live. We have a DVR capability. We can go back and check the film. First time in Kronum League history we've been able to actually go to video and see evidence of what actually occurred in the play.
And the refs, I think, are doing that. They're over at the scores table right now.
They're checking when did Scott Anderson call timeout, how much time is left, and they're going to put 4 seconds back on the clock.
So they got plenty of time. I'm looking for Sperling.
Tons of time.
They got to roll it out for the clear, right? Or no, they got to take the ball in the middle. Any ball in the goal here from the Urban Legends will give them the win within 4 seconds. They'll take the ball from the middle. I'm still looking for...
You're going Brian Sperling here?
I'm going Brian Sperling. Clark draws defenders in. Sperling wide open on the side.
Look, they have Clark and Sperling in the same area in between quads 2 and 4. Throwback staying with the traditional point defense. They're not going to change anything up on defense. Sperling moving away from Clark now. I think they're going to kick to Clark and come back to Sperling in the high point of the flex. Frank Buffa's wide open out here on the perimeter, though. Nobody on him. Vignola to the wedge. He's wide open, and he's going to hit it. Timeout. Throwbacks quickly. Let's see if they got the timeout or if the game is over.
Mike Smell on the near side is saying that they did.
Let's see if they got the timeout.
Snell is calling that they had a timeout.
Mike Snell is actually, it looks like he's calling the game.
He's calling the game.
The game is over. The game is over. Dan Vignola, so good from the wedge in round 1 and round 2, wins the game as time expires for the Urban Legends. An unbelievable third period performance by the Urban Legends. They come all the way back from a 21-point deficit to take down the Throwbacks as they move to 2-0. Throwbacks fall to 0-2. That is a heartbreaking loss for the Throwbacks.
And great strategy from the Urban Legends, putting their shooters on the far side and then coming back.
Went with the shooters. Anyone in this game would have thought they were going to kick it out to Brian Sperling or Kevin Clark. Instead, they go to the perimeter, go to that easy 2 points to Dan Vignola. He's been so good from the wedge here in the first 2 rounds. Amazing game. Stay with us, fellas. We'll have the game 2 coming up at 2:30. Night Owls versus Workhorses. Battle of the old teammates. Kyle McGrath versus Bill Cavalcante. We're hyped up. The Legends win the game. The Night Owls are here. Let's go. 2:30, ladies and gentlemen.
He almost knocked down the freaking scaffold when he jumped.